We've seen the Force as female in one form or another, a whole lot of it. But one female in Star Wars kind of captures my heart a little bit more than most, and it is part of Disney. Jyn Erso. Now, before anybody gets mad, like why? Why her, not like Princess Leia? I think for me, Princess Leia kind of represents the older parent, because maybe because I was born by the time Star Wars was established. I don't know. For me, it wasn't like she wasn't relatable. Leia was not relatable to me. Maybe Padme was more, but um, Jin. Now the pacing in the movie in Rogue One was kind of like shoddy. Maybe there was more. Like the creator, there might have been 3 hours of Rogue One material. But Jyn Erso had started out with parents, and her father being from the Empire, well, actually the Republic, since they were Republic officers. And then when they became the Empire, her father, Mads Mikkelsen, Galen Erso wanted nothing to do with that. She just wanted to be away from all that. She wanted to be, he wanted to be away from all that. He wanted his wife and daughter to be away from all that. And they were all on Coruscant awaiting their orders from Chancellor Palpatine. And that was, what kind of movie that was. And I enjoyed Rogue One. I think it was the only Disney movie other than Treasure Planet that I actually enjoyed. But when she lost her mother and her father got captured, and Jyn Erso was about, what, 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. Okay. And that was the beginnings of that was shortly after Revenge of the Sith. You've lost. Yeah. So who was supposed to take care of her? Forrest Whitaker, Saw Gerrera was supposed to take care of her. So Saw Gerrera did a shoddy job at that and left her behind. Pardon me. At some point, she got captured by the Empire and jailed. And she went from being jailed to be rescued by the rebellion, or a division of the rebellion that didn't mind killing other people. And I like that kind of version of the rebellion. The rebels were not above killing, as was the Empire. But I think where the rebels differed from the Empire was that they didn't delight in, they killed. I guess, what is it? George Lucas said that when Obi-Wan Kenobi had to go kill Anakin, he did it because it was inevitable to do it. Whereas Anakin took some slight delight, as definitely Palpatine, in killing. That's what the Sith do, right? So I guess for the rebels, they only killed when it was absolutely necessary to do so. You find Galen Erso, you kill it. So her father was in danger. But before that, before she got the message that Galen Erso put a weak spot on the Death Star, she didn't give a shit. She was like, whatever. I shuffled off from one prison to another. Saw Gerrera didn't give a shit. My family's gone. The Empire's taken over everything. Why should I care? You don't have to worry about it as long as you don't look up. You don't have to worry about the Empire. Just don't look up. So that was her thing. She had no powers. She's not force sensitive. She has no tricks. I kind of think back to the Han Solo fan movie where Han Solo made it look like he force grabbed a blaster to rescue Chewie, but it was like a magnet that he had on. That was funny because that's the one person you definitely don't want to be given force powers to, is Han Solo. So she didn't have any powers. She was just like anybody else, just running and gunning. I think of Ania Solo, also from Star Wars Legacy, when I think of this person. Maybe Dr. Aphra is another female I like, because she's just an archaeologist. She doesn't really care. But Jyn Erso lost everything. She lost her family, and she had to struggle to redeem herself. Once she got the message, then she's like, okay. So, yeah, a lot of people complained that it happened so quickly, but it's 2.5 hours. I guess something had to happen. And when you look back at her development, it made sense. Like, what was she going to do? Go back to Saw? She didn't trust Saw. She didn't trust Mon Mothma. She definitely didn't trust Vader or Palpatine or the whole Empire. So what was she to do? I guess she could have been a bounty hunter. but that's not what she did. She did not. She did not end up becoming a bounty hunter. Um, don't know if she would have had the skill for it. Um, you either train yourself to become a bounty hunter and join Boba Fett and others like Bosk and IG-88 and kill people for a living or turn them in alive or dead or whatever. You just don't. I think she just decided to run completely. And then she just, circumstances dictated that she would not run. And I like that death scene where she sees her father, much like Anakin saw his mother. She saw her father. Leia never got to say goodbye to her father or her stepfather. So bizarre. But having seen the developments of, because I don't watch Disney Plus, so I don't see Ahsoka. I like Jyn Erso the most, maybe because of all the stuff she went through. Now, in the end, she dies too. Everybody fucking dies in Rogue One, mostly because it wouldn't make sense for them to be in the three movies to contradict canon, so they had to go. They could have gone to another galaxy, but you know, I think she'd want to make sure that that Death Star was dead. She wouldn't want to leave for another galaxy before she knew that Death Star exploded. But then she would meet Luke Skywalker and Han and Leia, and that's kind of the thing too. I kind of find it bizarre that Ahsoka went as long as it did without the main three ever being in the presence of Ahsoka. You know, what were Han, Luke, and Leia doing? They were on Coruscant? I don't know. I think if they were on Coruscant, I think we did. Wasn't Coruscant shown in Ahsoka? You would have to have seen one of those three, right? Those three would have had to have been around. That scene never happens in the movie, but there were a lot of scenes like that. That's the scene where the creator and Alfie go on the ship. So I think what makes a character. I was thinking of Lara Croft last night. And I thought, what makes a character is that she has to have those vulnerabilities. Now, it's funny that Melanie Mack, I mean, assuming she's right wing, she doesn't like the modern Lara Croft, but she hates Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel and Lara Croft are like oil and water, because Captain Marvel can do anything. She can smash anything and not get hurt, not get a cut or a bruise. And here, Jyn Erso can get bruised. She with what I liked about Rogue One, besides the mortality of everything, is that there was no fucking Jedi to come in and save anything. The Jedi were all but extinct, and they were hinted at. But the only time you saw anybody with powers was fucking Vader, and everybody else had to figure it out. It's like Injustice when Superman was evil, and all the other superheroes and villains had to figure out what to do. May the Force be with us. Yes. So I'm going to include it on here. Let me know what you think. Do you think Jyn Erso is the best female in all of Star Wars? The best female protagonist? People will say Leia, but Leia found her future husband. She found her brother, and she eventually figured out where the rest of her family was. She had so many resources because she was the princess. Remember, even Dave Filoni characterized it with Julie Dolan as that because Leia was the princess, that's why a lot of the people in the Empire were afraid of her. But once they had the Death Star running, they could put her in her place. But Jyn Erso was always the outcast. She was she had no royalty status. She was not a dignitary. She was not a missionary or any kind of diplomat to give even the slightest sense of authority. She had to think on her own. She had to act on her own. That's all that mattered. All right. If you like this video, you know what to do. I'll try to come up with a better topic tomorrow.